Here is your large latte. I made a little heart on top. Enjoy your coffee. Have a great day. Every little bit counts. Almost there.
The moment I uncovered the truth, I had two choices: destroy him or quietly rebuild myself. And years later, life gave me a chance that no one could have predicted. When I met Daniel, life felt refreshingly simple. He wasn't flashy or loud. He was thoughtful, dependable, and always talking about the future we would build together. We dreamed about buying a small home, hosting family dinners, and eventually getting married. Neither of us earned much, but we believed that hard work would get us where we wanted to be. When he proposed, it wasn't expensive, it was heartfelt. That mattered more to me than diamonds or luxury. We agreed that we'd both save for our wedding, each contributing what we could afford. I threw myself into that goal completely. I picked up weekend freelance work. I stopped buying clothes I didn't absolutely need. Every coffee I skipped, every online sale I ignored, every little sacrifice had one purpose. I even kept a separate savings account labeled Wedding Fund so I could watch our dreams slowly become real. Daniel always smiled whenever I mentioned how much I'd managed to save. He said his own savings were growing too, but that some money was tied up in freelance business opportunities. I trusted him without question. Looking back, the warning signs were there. He suddenly started wearing nicer clothes. His weekends became busier. He canceled wedding planning meetings more often. Whenever I asked about booking vendors, he'd promise everything would be ready soon. Love has a strange way of turning excuses into believable stories. Everything changed on one ordinary Saturday. I was leaving a home goods store after buying decorations for our engagement celebration. As I crossed the parking lot, I saw someone who looked familiar. It was Daniel. He wasn't alone. Beside him walked an elegant woman carrying several luxury shopping bags. Daniel opened the passenger door for her, smiled in a way I hadn't seen in months, and handed her another expensive package before they drove away together. I didn't run after them. I didn't scream. I didn't even cry. Instead, I stood completely still because, in that moment, every excuse he'd ever given me suddenly fit together like pieces of a puzzle I never wanted to solve. That night, I made a promise to myself. I wouldn't confront him until I understood the truth. Over the following weeks, I simply paid attention. His stories stopped matching reality. His spending never matched the financial struggles he described. The more I observed, the clearer everything became. He wasn't struggling, he was choosing where his money went, and I wasn't his priority anymore. Here's the part most people don't expect. I never contacted the other woman. I never searched for revenge. I never exposed him online, because I realized something important. My future deserved more attention than his lies. Instead of planning the perfect confrontation, I quietly planned my exit. But what happened next completely changed my life. One morning I transferred every dollar from my wedding savings into a new account only I could access. Not because I wanted revenge, because I finally understood that the future I'd been saving for no longer existed. Then I asked myself a question I'd ignored for years. If I wasn't saving for a wedding, what was I actually saving for? That single question changed everything. For years I'd helped small businesses organize their finances as a side job. Friends constantly told me I should start my own consulting business, but I'd always said I couldn't risk my savings. Now I realized I wasn't risking my future anymore. I was investing in it. I spent weeks researching, planning, and preparing. I registered my company, built a simple website, found my first clients, worked from my dining room table with nothing but determination and a second-hand laptop. It wasn't glamorous. Some months were frightening. Some nights I wondered if I'd made the biggest mistake of my life. But every challenge belonged to something I actually believed in, myself. In those early months, the reality of running a business hit harder than I ever anticipated. There were days when I stared at my bank account with only a few $100s left, wondering if I had been foolish to bet everything on myself. Client payments were often delayed. Invoices got lost in email chains, and I spent countless hours learning how to market myself when I had zero experience in sales. I taught myself basic bookkeeping at 2 a.m., designed my own invoices, and cold emailed local businesses with a pitch I rewrote 20 times. Rejections came frequently, some polite, others brutally dismissive. There were moments of deep loneliness too. Friends who once cheered me on slowly drifted away, unsure how to relate to someone who had traded stability for uncertainty. I missed having someone to share the small victories with, like landing my third client or figuring out how to fix a crashing website. But in that solitude, I discovered a version of myself I had never met before. Someone resilient, resourceful, and quietly fierce. I started waking up earlier, reading business books during lunch breaks, and tracking every single expense like my life depended on it. Slowly, the fear began turning into fuel. Each successful project built my confidence. Each problem I solved became proof that I was capable of more than I had ever been allowed to believe in my previous life. I learned that true independence isn't loud or glamorous. It's showing up for yourself even when no one else is watching, even when the numbers look scary, even when doubt whispers that you should go back to what's familiar. Those hard months forged something unbreakable in me. They taught me that the money I once saved for someone else's future could actually become the foundation for my own empire. One honest client and one late night at a time. I stopped waiting for permission or perfect conditions. I became the person who created opportunities instead of hoping they would appear. And with every small win, the girl who once poured her savings into a wedding that would never happen transformed into a woman building a legacy she could be proud of, no matter what happened next. The late nights turned into breakthroughs, the doubts into determination, and the fear into freedom. I began to see every challenge as a stepping stone rather than a roadblock. Networking events that once terrified me became opportunities to connect with like-minded entrepreneurs. I learned to negotiate contracts, manage cash flow, and celebrate small milestones like securing my first retainer client. There were still setbacks, a major client who suddenly pulled out, a website crash during tax season, and moments when I questioned everything. Yet each time I picked myself back up, I grew stronger. I realized that rebuilding wasn't just about financial success. It was about reclaiming my self-worth, my time, and my dreams. The woman who once sacrificed everything for a shared future was now investing fully in herself. And that shift changed everything. Slowly but surely, the business stabilized, my income grew, and most importantly, my confidence soared to new heights. I no longer needed validation from anyone else because I had proven to myself that I was enough. A few months later, I calmly ended my engagement. There were no dramatic speeches, no accusations, no endless arguments. I simply told Daniel that our future no longer aligned. He looked shocked. He asked if someone else had entered my life. I quietly answered no. The truth was far simpler. For the first time, I had chosen myself. Years passed. My business slowly grew. One satisfied client recommended another, then another. Eventually, I hired employees, moved into a real office, expanded my services. The woman who once counted every dollar for wedding decorations was now helping companies manage entire budgets. Success didn't happen overnight. It happened one ordinary day at a time. Then came the moment I never could have planned. We were hiring an operations manager. Several candidates were scheduled for interviews. As the next applicant walked through the door, I looked up from the resume. It was Daniel. For a split second, time seemed to stop. He recognized me almost immediately. The confidence he entered with disappeared from his face. I simply smiled politely. "Good morning. Please have a seat." That was all. No lecture, no bitterness, no reminder of the past, just professionalism. As the interview continued, I noticed how nervous he became whenever I asked ordinary business questions. Perhaps he remembered everything we'd once planned together. Perhaps he realized what had happened. Or perhaps he simply understood that life had quietly come full circle. When the interviews ended, our hiring team reviewed every candidate fairly. Daniel wasn't the strongest applicant. Another candidate had more experience, better references, and stronger solutions. She earned the position, not because of revenge, because she was simply the best choice. Walking out of the office that evening, I realized something I'd never understood before. Real karma isn't watching someone else fail. Real karma is reaching a point where their choices no longer control your happiness. The wedding I spent years saving for never happened. Instead, those same savings became the foundation of a business, a career, and a life built entirely on my own decisions. Looking back, I don't celebrate what Daniel lost. I celebrate what I found: confidence, freedom, peace. Sometimes the greatest love story isn't about finding the right partner. Sometimes it's about becoming the person who will never settle for the wrong one again. And if you're facing a season where trust has been broken, remember this: the future you planned may disappear overnight, but the future you build for yourself can become far greater than anything you originally imagined. If this story spoke to you, let us know in the comments what lesson stayed with you the most. And if you enjoy inspiring stories about resilience, fresh starts, and unexpected life lessons, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next story waiting to surprise you.